Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from Lancaster, Virginia, the latest news and recaps in the world of professional wrestling. Welcome to the Wrestling Artistry Podcast. And now, here's your host, Andre Smith.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 26 of the Wrestling Artistry Podcast. I am your host, Andre Smith, and today I'm here just to speak on some sad news that I'm sure many already heard already. Jamie Pugh, better known as Jay Briscoe of the Briscoe Brothers Tag Team, who was a staple of Ring of Honor for over 20 years. He tragically passed away in a car accident a couple days ago. He was only 38 years old, cut down at the prime of his life in his career. They were one of my favorite tag teams of all time, held multiple championships throughout the years, and it's a sad thing. And I send my thoughts and prayers to his family. Alright, now I'm going to report on some of the results of some of the shows that have happened over the past few days. Starting off with SmackDown. Though the SmackDown came from Green Bay, Wisconsin, start off with the Intercontinental Championship on the line. Gunther defends against Braun Strowman. Gunther targeted Strowman's arm throughout the match. When Strowman did get an edge, Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci double-teamed Strowman behind the referee's back. At the end, Gunther powerbombs Strowman out of the corner and gets the pinfall. He winning in dominating fashion. Rey Mysterio shows up. He has decided to enter the Royal Rumble match. Then Karrion Kross arrived. Kross questioned Rey's ability as a father, and that was enough for Mysterio. As he was about to deliver the 619, Scarlett distracted Mysterio. This allowed Kross to apply the straitjacket sleeper hold to Mysterio, putting him out. Next up, we had Xia Li versus Tegan Nox. Nox wins with the shiniest wizard. In a tag team tournament to see who will face the Usos, Sheamus and Drew McIntyre will face the Viking Raiders. Bray Wyatt is in the house. And the interesting thing was he's in a rocking chair. A throwback from his days in his previous run. He's just cutting a promo talking about I guess facing LA Knight in their upcoming match at the Royal Rumble. Kevin Owens was about to be interviewed when Sami Zayn showed up. Owens tells Zayn that Roman Reigns was using Sami, but Zayn wasn't trying to hear it. Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez. Earlier in the night, Rodriguez said that Morgan should have not volunteered to be the first Royal Rumble entrant because of her size. Morgan responded by slapping Raquel in the face and challenging her to a match. What was that girl thinking? Rodriguez wins with the Tejana Bomb. A brawl broke out in the back between Sonya Deville and Charlotte Flair, which ended up being a pull apart. So I guess Deville is going to do whatever she can to have a rematch against Flair. Cody Rhodes continues his road to return to wrestling. I'll mention that again soon. Main event of the evening is Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. Just when it looked like Zayn, was going to deliver the hell of a kick, the Bloodline started beating up Owens, sans Roman Reigns, causing the disqualification. Zayn looked puzzled but wound up being cool with it, and that's what ended SmackDown. The next show I'm going to review will be this past Monday Night Raw that came from Cincinnati, Ohio. Usos and Solo Sikoa kick off the show. They announced that at Raw 30, all the generations of the Bloodline will be in attendance for Roman Reigns' acknowledgement ceremony. Then the Judgment Day come out, which features ex-Con Dom, Dominic Mysterio. Lovely name. Anyway, Dominic Mysterio said that he smelled fear amongst the Bloodline and called out Sikoa. This boy that lost his mind. Anyway, the street chant was immediately in Mysterio's face. Then Mysterio's mommy, Rhea Ripley, came in between them and was face to face with Sikoa. Sikoa backed off at first, then he got back in Ripley's face. Ripley dared Sikoa to hit her. Sikoa appeared to be poised to lure the Samoan Spike, but Mustafa Ali dived onto Sikoa. Mustafa Ali versus Solo Sikoa. During the match, the Usos returned to ringside, which brought out Kevin Owens. Owens brawled with the undisputed tag team champions outside the ring. As that was going on, Ali tried to put away Sikoa. However, Sikoa landed the Samoan Spike for the win. Afterwards, Owens and the Bloodline brawled outside the ring again. At the end, the Bloodline is backing away as Owens stands tall. We find out that the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes is indeed coming back at the Royal Rumble. We had the Street Profits versus Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. During the match, MVP strolls down to the ring. Angelo Dawkins reverses an Alexander pin attempt for the win, despite the efforts of MVP and his distraction tactics. Becky Lynch calls out Bayley. Lynch challenges Bayley to a steel cage match for next week at Raw 30. We have, for next match, Elias versus Omos. Omos wins with the two-handed chokeslam. And Elias thought he was going to wrestle MVP that night. Oops. The Judgment Day of Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio versus Alpha goes up against Alpha Academy. Gable had Mysterio in the ankle lock until Priest caught Gable with the South of Heaven chokeslam. Mysterio covers Gable for the win. Next up, we have Io Sky versus Michin Mia Yim. Michin hits Eat the Feet for the win. Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair is back, and she calls out Alexa Bliss, not wasting any time, and challenges to a match at the Rumble. Bliss and Belair get into a brawl which spills outside the ring and almost pretty much into the crowd. As Belair gets ready to land a KOD onto two steel chairs, Uncle Howdy makes an appearance. This distracts Belair, who falls victim to a DDT onto the floor. Akira Tozawa versus Bronson Reed. Tozawa tried to put up a fight, but Bronson Reed is just too much for him, and Reed wins with the tsunami. Main event of Raw is a six-pack challenge to determine the next challenger for the U.S. title. Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor versus The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin versus Bobby Lashley. Rollins eliminated The Miz with the stomp. Then Rollins eliminated Ziggler with the pedigree. After Balor hit the double stomp onto Lashley, Rollins hit the stomp onto Balor to eliminate him. Then Lashley spears Corbin to eliminate him. All the while, Omos and MVP were distracting Lashley. Omos threw Rollins over the announce table. Lashley was fussing at Omos and MVP, but Austin Theory hit Lashley with the U.S. title. Omos was about to chokeslam Theory, but Rollins stomped Omos. Rollins got back in the ring only to eat a spear from Lashley and get pinned. So at Raw 30, it will indeed be Bobby Lashley, the Almighty One, versus Austin Theory for the U.S. title. That was Raw. Next up, we have good grief. We have NXT up next. Getting my shows mixed up here. The show starts off with highlights from last week's New Year's Evil event. The first match of the night is Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams versus Axiom and Apollo Crews. Crews pins Hayes for the win. Tony D'Angelo promotes Stacks to underboss. Tiffany Stratton is ostracized by the NXT women's locker room. Toxic Attraction makes their way to the ring. As they discuss how they are a team and that there is no animosity, Lyra Valkyria comes out to confront them. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane beat down Valkyria until NXT Women's Champ Roxanne Perez comes out for the save. Ivy Nile gives the Creed brothers a pep talk, trying to remind them of who they are and where they came from and all the other good stuff. Get them now, get them. Anyway, Stevie Turner, gonna be a newcomer to NXT, gives a review of the women's battle royal that happened on New Year's Eve. She proclaimed that she was in the match that she would have won, of course. We have as our next match Sol Ruka versus Alba Fire. Fire gets distracted by Illa Dawn, and this gives Ruka the opening to hit the Soul Snatcher for the win, which is an excellent move, I think. Fire was in the back about to destroy the referee of a match. NXT Women's Tag Champs Kaden Carter and Katana Chance tried to calm Fire down, but Fire decided to challenge them for the tag belts. Only problem is she doesn't have a partner. However, Fire claims that she doesn't need one. Good luck, Alba. Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen versus Gallus is the next match. Jensen seemed a bit off his game at first, but got his mind right later on. This was a brawl. Early in the match, Mark Coffey and Wolfgang exposed the concrete floor. Later on, Jensen, whose back was already punished, got backdropped onto the exposed concrete. As Jensen was being tended to outside outside the ring by medical staff, Fallon Henley and Kiana James came out to tend to him as well. Briggs tried to put up a good fight. At the end, though, Gallus got the win. Fallon Henley is not happy that Kiana James is on the mind of Brooks Jensen. Valentina Feroz versus Thea Hale. Hale gets the win after Feroz refused to use brass knuckles that Elektra Lopez gave her. I guess she says she wants to win fair and square. How long that will last, we shall see. NXT Tag Team Champs, The New Day, come out looking sharp. As they were saying that they were done with Pretty Deadly and had to face Gallus, Pretty Deadly show up to make the case that they were the rightful No. 1 contenders. Then Gallus showed up and a brawl broke out. Javier Bernal is about to give a concert of sorts. As he was about to play a song, Tyler Bate comes out. So this will be our next match. Is Tyler Bate goes up against Javier Bernal. And Bate wins with the Tiger Driver. Main event of NXT is Toxic Attraction versus Lyra Valkyria and NXT Women's Champ Roxanne Perez. During the match, Cora Jade shoved Valkyria off the top rope, causing Valkyria to chase Jade down. As Dolan and Jane went for their double team move to Perez, Perez ducked and Jane kicked Dolan in the face back. Accident? Maybe. I don't know. And after that, Perez hit the top rocks onto Dolan for the win. And afterwards, at the closing moments of the match, we have Dolan and Jane kind of arguing amongst each other. So, is the Toxic Attraction Empire gonna completely crumble? We shall find out soon enough, I suppose. All right. Final program that I am going to review will be AEW. Starting off hot for the AEW All-Atlantic Championship, Orange Cassidy defends against Jay Lethal. If any of Lethal's goons, friends, interfere in the match, Sanjay Dutt will be fired. Jeff Jarrett, Dutt, and Satam Singh ended up being in the crowd but not at ringside, along with best friends Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta. At one point, Dutt had popcorn thrown at him by one of the best friends. I tend to forget who it was. But anyway, Jarrett was about to swing on them, but Dutt was trying to stop him. As the referee came down to see what was going on, Jarrett was trying to give Lethal the guitar, but then Danhausen intercepted, grabbed the guitar, and with guitar in hand, cursed Lethal and serenaded him for a couple of seconds while Lethal gave chase. After Lethal got back in the ring, him and Cassidy exchanged a couple of moves, but then Cassidy hits the orange punch for the win to retain the All-Atlantic title. Next up, we have Top Flight versus the Young Bucks. During the match, the Bucks paid a tribute to the late Jay Briscoe, executing the Doomsday Device for a near fall. Dante Martin dived from the ring towards both the Bucks, but Nick and Matt Jackson delivered a super kick to Martin. As they had dashed Martin for the BTE, Martin ducked, causing the Bucks to crash their knees together. Then Dante rolls Matt for the win. The Guns come out next and they whine about how they claimed to embarrass them the other week. The AEW Tag Champs then make their way out to the ring, and a fight breaks out between the two teams, which Billy Gunn quickly breaks up. He said they were all going to have a sit down and hash things out. A family therapy session, if you will. Renee Paquette interviews Hangman Adam Page. They talk about the dynamic between Page and Jon Moxley after everything that has went down. The conversation seemed a little bit on the emotional side and kind of awkward as well. Next match was Jake Hager versus Ricky Starks. Starks catches Hager with a spear to get the win at a decent match. We have Bryan Danielson versus Bandito. After an intense battle between the two, Danielson wins with a flying knee. Bandito put up a hell of a fight. AEW champ MJF warns Danielson that he will see the monster behind the mask. So I guess MJF's not going to be, he'll be meaner than he has been. Not that he was ever nice, but I digress. Then MJF, he went up to Brian Cage as him and Prince Nana were having an interview. He went up to Brian Cage and told he would pay him handsomely to break Danielson's arm, and then slapped him to give him some motivation. MJF is a brave man. Or maybe he's a smart man. Tony Storm versus Willow Nightingale. After Saraya distracts Nightingale, Storm rolls up Willow for the win. But with assistance, she had the straps or the trunks or something. Afterwards, Storm and Saraya attack Willow, but Ruby Soho comes to the rescue. So it looks like Tony Storm and Saraya have... Saraya. Oh, that name. They have turned heel. Another heel turn. Good job, AEW. Main event of the evening, TNT Championship match. Darby Allin defends against Kushida. Allin went for a shotgun dropkick from the top rope onto the floor, but Kushida caught Allin with a cross armbar on the floor. Then Allin leg locked Kushida's legs together and leaned back to get the pinfall to retain the TNT title and to close out the show. And that is it for my review, and that is it for the Wrestling Artistry podcast for this week. And be sure to be on the lookout next week for another episode. And until then, fans, take care and so long for now.